in that quarter-final. They didn't perform to the level they expected that they should. I think they're going to... I actually think they'll get through this group.
Have you been in there to
I
give
did.
them some words of
The good luck
encouragement?
charm is here, so I'm expecting big things.
If you're just joining us, then that's an inside joke between Rich and I. The South Africans last week said Richard Buckley was their good luck charm. So pressure's on, Rich. That's all I'm going to say. Pressure is on.
Can I get a couple things on the record just before everything unfolds? First off, Group C is going to be the most interesting group, the most dramatic group, the most dynamic group of all the groups. All right, I want that on the record. And then Group D, Brandon said he thought it was going to get the shaken and bacon. Maybe he used different words than that, but you got what I'm saying. I don't think so. I think it's very clear cut that it'll be Israel, South Africa, Germany, and Sweden to be the top four in that group. Now that that's on the record, you can come at me later, but at least it's been stated.
Clip that up, Mike.
Yeah,
Put it out on socials.
I don't like when it's backtracked. People say, I said it was going to happen. It's like, I didn't hear you. Now it's been told.
He's finished. He's finished there, Rich. We can start now.
He has finished.
I had to get that out.
And sticking up with the Mike LaBelle prediction was an early goal. He didn't expect this side to do very well in Peru, and they are 1-0 down early doors. Israel, one of the favourites for this tournament. They've got the #1 player ranked in Europe in Yuval, partnered alongside two just fantastic players in Nisa and Feldman. Expecting big things from Israel.
You want some more statements? I expect Israel to be top 4.
Of the entire tournament?
I expect them to be reaching the semifinals. That's where I'm at. We're going big and bold to start today.
Big and bold, just like his jacket. Let's go.
Speaking of yellow, back on board with Sweden as they try and penetrate the South Africa defence. Doing well to hold firm. Aga, before we get underway and before things get hectic, I've got a question about Scandinavia in particular. We saw Denmark earlier today. Is there a little bit of internal competition within Scandinavia as well to be the best nation? Like, does Sweden and Denmark have a little bit of like, we want to be better than each other?
Definitely. I mean, I can say that Denmark and Sweden has been having the biggest rivalry in Scandinavia.
As we jump over then to have a look and see what the German side looked like with a newly crowned world champion. Well, that's what they look like there, Mike.
Way too much space. Didn't even need the skill move. Stepped into space, green, time, finish, 1-0.
Whenever I see Turkey playing FIFA esports, just reminds me back to England getting knocked out. As they go 1-0 up as they jump on board. Perfect timing with a penalty to Sweden. Good save from South Africa.
We got to remind people as well, we saw South Africa, the same team, basically in action with Goliath Gaming. They're now representing the national team. They're dangerous. They are clearly a dark horse, and they've already have success on this stage. Most teams can't say that are here in action. You see some intersects, some different players that had to make some trades, maybe with different partnerships, but here we have an identical partnership that already has had a successful run.
They also get the 10% buff with the Richard Buckley good luck. So it's factual.
Aggie, massive advantage for the South Africans, already been partnered up with the same duo last week and then coming back here again this week.
Yeah, I think it would definitely be an advantage if you experienced this before. As we've also been speaking about, the same goes for Brazil, who is also keeping the same duo, as for now at least. It definitely plays a part that you've been here, you've been sitting here together, and you had some experiences, whether it's good or bad. And yeah, as we could see there, loads of goal coming in.
Again, another team that I think can cause some major problems is Australia. We've seen those guys in action, seen them on the big stage. I'm telling you, Group C is where you want to be. Maybe you don't want to play in it, but in terms of viewership potential, of a lot of mix and match and upsets and dramatic moments and roller coasters, I really feel that's the group.
I mean, even in Group C, you have the unknown quantity that is Singapore. That you don't really, they're not one of the 5 nations, when you look at Spain, Brazil, Australia, Portugal, Turkey, that you put in there. They're on the periphery. However, they are a great side in their own right, and they're taking on Spain here, and there has been an early goal, and it's gone to Singapore in this matchup.
On cue. On cue. I'm telling you, Group C is the place that a lot of things are going to be moving and debating and discussing, and it's going to be very unpredictable. That's the word you like using. We'll roll with that word, Rich.
Do you think one of Spain, Brazil, Portugal goes out in Group C? Do you think they got a big shot? Australia and Turkey. What do you think about that? Australia and Turkey in this group as well, and it's a back and forth affair. Turkey now leading 2-1. Michael Bell.
Yes. I think someone goes. And we're going to use the game that you love so much, and I can't wait for it. It's going to come into play a lot more tomorrow. But what word am I missing here, Rich?
Is it the permutations?
Oh, the permutations. That's right.
Well, it's a bit of an upset as well with the game we looked at earlier when Germany got an early goal there. Aside from India, have got themselves right back in it, which is so great to see.
I want to see India have success. They struggled last time that we saw them in action. We spent a lot of time with them in that online period, getting to know a lot of their players, their talent, the development of that talent, because it was new to competitive esports. And for most, we didn't realize there was as much going on there. So in terms of the level of competition and the amount of competitors that were at this high tier, or this upper tier.
Aggie, what do you know about the team from India?
Got to be honest, not a lot. I met them as well last year in Copenhagen, and I've obviously been following them throughout the season. And I mean, they're just very nice guys, very lively and very willing to learn, it seems, and to follow their progress has been very interesting. And I, as Mike says, I hope they will proceed in this competition. I would like to see that underdog story.
As we're just going to half-time here, after speaking to a few of the players in this tournament,
over, reposition, goalkeeper movement does not matter. Go ahead and do a little bit of a wave, a slip and slide. It's summertime.
I mean, the perfect time as well. And you just see the Portuguese look behind to Francisco Cruz and says, what do we do next? What do we do about summertime? I don't know. We'll have to find a way back through that long, hot summer.
Can we just get August's reactions to when I talk?
We're not coming on camera for that reason, actually. Right, let's get back into the second half then. South Africa, Sweden. No one's broken this deadlock just yet. Mike, you need to get yourself down there, wave your shirt around and see if it spices things up a little bit.
I had a brunch with the Swedes. So we've already discussed, we've talked about it, we've gone over different things. I told him this is the closest I get to supporting right here. You see the big yellow is out in full effect. Give me something to cheer about.
What did the big yellow have for brunch?
Well, I had a sandwich.
Okay.
It was kind of off-brand for brunch, but that's what I had. The chicken club.
Just want to know, it looks like Ololito is sitting behind. Aggie, I mean, Mike, you can answer this one as well. Aggie, is that because they're getting a little bit of a rest after what he did last week?
I don't think so. I mean, we saw this lineup as well in Copenhagen. I think they're rotating. I think their chemistry is very, very solid. And I think these three players are together about making the decisions. I think that's one of their biggest strengths. There's no big ego or one big star there. It's a collective, and they don't put themselves before the team, so they will understand the eventual decisions. So I think they're going to be rotating. I don't think it necessarily has anything to do with Ololito's success, let's call it that, with his top four last week.
Mike, no Boris legend, though, behind them this time.
Ivan made an announcement. Ivan is Boris legend, for anybody at home that doesn't know.
Step basics, I like that.
No, actually, I thought that was good.
Ivan and I are
different
good
names
friends. We are on a first-name basis. I would hope so. He made an announcement that he was basically going to spend time elsewhere. And that he separated at the beginning of the year. So it's not a surprise here, and they've been working together separate to Ivan.
I just know him as Mr. Boris.
Mr. Boris, whatever you want to call him. We're giving him all sorts of strongest competitors, mentality-wise. I don't like going against Tuga in anything. You see a little bit of some reworking, a little bit of action here. Germany extending against India. But at the end of the day, we're all human, and surely, because these are back-to-back events, you don't get a lot of time in between these events. That's got to sit with Tuga a little bit. He's got to be disappointed. He's definitely emotional from E-Club. That was their title that they probably expected to make a run for a chance at going back-to-back. I talked to him before he got into action with the E-Club. So I don't want to use the word humbling, because I always feel like Tuga is very humble. He's very professional, but I think he's probably surprised to not get that result. Him and Indoni as a team have shown so much success together, and it did not come together due to the draw.
With him having success in the nation, maybe he's even more special if he could do it this week, Aggie.
Yeah, we heard Tuga speaking about it, that it would be arguably the biggest achievement for him to achieve this together with his country, Portugal. We speak about Tuga, but also finding very interesting to see Andoni in Spain. They're currently down as well right now with one, I believe, and Both of them were together, obviously, last week, and now they're playing against each other soon.
I've been watching this game for a little bit between South Africa and Sweden is knocking on the door. As we said, they keep coming forward, they're looking to create in the final third, but South Africa are quite resolute and very similar to what we saw from Goliath Gaming last week. It is the exact pair. They're now just representing the nation that they love so much in South Africa. And one thing they were really good at is capitalising when one single opportunity came up. They weren't necessarily the best team on paper for 75, 80 minutes of those games, but in the spells they scored. And something that this South African side they have to do if they want to get through this group.
They weren't grinding results out either in terms of having to chase a late goal. We saw South Africa during the E-Club, they were always scoring first. They were scoring early, and then from there they showed what I was surprised with, but the ability to handle game management and holding on to leads, making it difficult for your opposition. But they didn't have a bunch of late winners or late drama in those regards. A lot of the job got done early, and then they were able to make the most of them.
Going to take your moments, haven't you? That's what it comes down to. In these big moments.
A little bit risky that, just up in the air. It's not clear just yet. South Africa will recycle this possession. All out wide, just holding, waiting. And they're just going to play out here for the final attack of this first game here in Group D.
A little bit of calls, haven't we, as well, in the Australia-Turkey match. We had a bit of a technical problem.
Whipped in
that one.
Just thought that might
Be annoyed.
Yeah,
You're the one that gets dropped off the 2 out of 3. You're the one out of 3 is all they took.
Yeah, I think as a player you would probably be annoyed, but on the other hand, that's a nice goal right there. Israel just
there you have it.
Getting that third one. But I mean, it's a hard one because obviously it's a new season, it's a new game, which means that you shouldn't be guaranteed things based on previous achievements. So they made a decision in Brazil, who are our 3 best players, which team is the best. It was the decision. You have to rethink all the time, you have to reinvent yourself, and I think that's what Brazil did.
That's exactly what Germany's done here, bringing in Levi Finn to that roster. Umut Dolomic and Levi Finn. A couple of seconds left.
I think they both made the right choice, actually. So Germany, this shift was needed, and I believe that we're going to see that over the course of the next few days, that it was a positive move for the progression of Germany. And the same with Brazil. I'm not saying it's fair, and I think just off the GP, general principle, you got to keep at least 2 of the 3, but I do think they picked the right 3 to go forward. I guess only time